educated or illiterate, whether you live on the boulevard or in the alley, you're going to catch hell just like I am. We're all in the same boat, and we all are going to catch the same hell from the same man. He just happens to be a white man. All of us have suffered here in this country political oppression at the hands of the white man, economic exploitation at the hands of the white man, and social degradation at the hands of the white man. Now, in speaking like this doesn't mean that we're anti-white, but it does mean we're anti-exploitation. We're anti-degradation. We're anti-oppression. And if the white man doesn't want us to be anti-him, let him stop oppressing and exploiting and degrading. I'm not a politician, not even a student of politics. In fact, I'm not a student of much of anything. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I don't even consider myself an American. If you and I were Americans, there'd be no problem. Those hunkies that just got off the boat, they're already Americans. The Polacks are already Americans. The Italian refugees are already Americans. Everything that came out of Europe, everything, every blue-eyed thing is already an American. And as long as you've been over here, as long as you and I have been over here, we aren't Americans yet. Well, I am one who doesn't believe in deluding myself. I'm not going to sit at your table and watch you eat with nothing on my plate and call myself a diner. Sitting at the table doesn't make you a diner. You must be eating some of what's on that table. Being here in America doesn't make you an American. Being born here in America doesn't make you an American. Why, if birth made you American, you wouldn't need any legislation. You wouldn't need any amendments to the Constitution. You wouldn't be faced with civil rights filibustering in Washington, D.C. right now. They don't have to pass civil rights legislation to make a Polak an American. No, I'm not an American. I'm one of the 22 million black people who are the victims of Americanism. One of the 22 million black people who are the victims of democracy. Nothing but disguised hypocrisy. So I'm not standing here speaking to you as an American or a patriot or a flag saluter or a flag waver. No, not I. I'm speaking as a victim of this American system. And I see America through the eyes of a victim. I don't see any American dream. I see an American nightmare. Well, we're justified in seeking civil rights if it means equality of opportunity, because all we're doing there is trying to collect for our investment. Our mothers and fathers invested sweat and blood. 310 years we worked in this country without a dime in return. I mean, without a dime in return. You let the white man walk around here talking about how rich this country is, but you never stop to think how it got rich so quick. It got rich, you made it rich. You take the people who are in this audience right now, they're poor, we're all poor as individuals. Our weekly salary individually amounts to hardly anything. But if you take the salary of everyone in here collectively, it'll fill up a whole lot of baskets. It's a lot of wealth. If you can collect the wages of just these people right here for a year, you'll be rich, richer than rich. When you look at it like that, think how rich Uncle Sam had to become. Not with this handful, but millions of black people, your and my mother and father, who didn't work an 8-hour shift, but worked from can't see in the morning until can't see at night. And worked for nothing, making the white man rich, making Uncle Sam rich. This is our investment. This is our contribution, our blood. Not only did we give of our free labor, we gave of our blood. Every time he had a call to arms, we were the first ones in uniform. We died on every battlefield the white man has. We have made a greater sacrifice than anybody who's standing up in America today. We have made a greater contribution and have collected less. Have collected less. Civil rights to those of us whose philosophy is black nationalism means give it to us now. Don't even wait next year. Give it to us yesterday. And that's not fast enough.
Up until 1959, Africa was dominated by the colonial powers, and by the colonial powers of Europe having complete control over Africa, they projected the image of Africa negatively. They projected Africa always in a negative light. Jungles, savages, cannibals, nothing civilized. And naturally, it was so negative until it was negative to you and me. And you and I began to hate it. We didn't want anybody to tell us anything about Africa, much less call us an African. And in hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. You can't hate your origin and not end up hating yourself. You can't hate Africa and not hate yourself. And you show me one of these people over here who have been thoroughly brainwashed, who has a negative attitude toward Africa, and I'll show you one that has a negative attitude toward himself. You can't have a positive attitude toward yourself and a negative attitude toward Africa at the same time. To the same degree that your attitude, that your understanding of and attitude toward Africa becomes positive, you'll find that your understanding of and your attitude toward yourself will also become positive. And this is what the white man knows. So they very skillfully made you and me hate our African identity, our African characteristics. And you know yourself that we have been a people who hated our African characteristics. We hated our hair. We hated the shape of our nose. We wanted one of those long, dog-like noses, you know. Yeah. We hated the color of our skin. Hated the blood of Africa that was in our veins. And in hating our features and our skin and our blood, why we had to end up hating ourselves. And we hated ourselves. Our color became to us a chain. We felt that it was holding us back. Our color became to us like a prison, which we felt was keeping us confined, not letting us go this way or that way. And we felt that all of these restrictions were based solely upon our color, and the psychological reaction to that would have to be that as long as we felt imprisoned or chained or trapped by black skin, black features, and black blood, that skin and those features and that blood that was holding us back automatically had to become hateful to us. And it became hateful to us. It made us feel inferior. It made us feel inadequate. It made us feel helpless. And when we fell victim to this feeling of inadequacy or inferiority or helplessness, we turned to somebody else to show us the way. We didn't have confidence in another black man to show us the way, or black people to show us the way. In those days, we didn't. We didn't think a black man could do anything. but play some horn, some sound, and make you happy with some songs, and in that way. In serious things, where our food, clothing, and shelter was concerned, and our education was concerned, we turned to the man. We never thought in terms of bringing these things into existence for ourselves. We never thought in terms of doing things for ourselves because we felt helpless. And what made us feel helpless was our hatred for ourselves. And our hatred for ourselves stemmed from our hatred of things African.
To understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro. Back during slavery, there was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro say, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? When you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say while you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hog. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters. loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated the master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro. The masses are the field Negroes. When they see this man's house on fire, you don't hear these little Negroes talking about our government is in trouble. They say the government is in trouble. Imagine a Negro, our government. I even heard one say our astronauts. They won't even let him near the plant. And our astronauts. Our Navy, that's a Negro that's out of his mind. That's a Negro that's out of his mind. Just as the slave master in that day used Tom, the house Negro, to keep the field Negroes in check, the same old slave master today has Negroes who are nothing but modern Uncle Toms, 20th century Uncle Toms, to keep you and me in check, keep us under control. Keep us passive and peaceful and nonviolent. That's Tom making you nonviolent. It's like when you go to the dentist and the man is going to take your tooth. You're going to fight him when he starts pulling. So they squirt some stuff in your jaw called Novocaine to make you think they're not doing anything to you. So you sit there and because you got all that Novocaine in your jaw, you suffer peacefully. Blood running all down your jaw. And you don't know what's happening. Because someone has taught you to suffer peacefully.
I have great respect and admiration for one who has the nerve to tie his own hands and then walk out and let a brute brutalize him. I have to respect him because he's doing something that I don't understand. What he's doing is beyond my power even to comprehend. It would be equivalent to putting handcuffs on me and putting me in the ring and telling me to fight Cassius Clay or Sonny Liston non-violently. I don't think I could do it. And whoever could do it, I'd have to, power to him. But all I'm saying, sir, is this. When you're in Mississippi, whenever you're dealing with an enemy, you have to be able to, there must be some dialogue. You have to be able to communicate. You can't, and the medium of communication usually is language. You must speak the language that the other person understands. If you're speaking to someone who can speak only French, you can't speak German to him, or Italian, or Swahili. You have to speak to him in the language he understands. When you're in Mississippi, speaking the language of morality, or the language of nonviolence, you're not communicating. You're talking a language that they don't understand. All I suggest is, and I don't suggest it as condemnation of Coco or Snick. I know too many of them. They're brave students, men, and all of that. All I'm saying is, since your approach, as you say, is tactical, a tactical approach is designed to get certain results. It's designed to keep you alive. It's designed to bring about victory. Why, we just can't say that victory has been brought about. We can't say that it is preserving life. I'm inclined to believe that you take the same people who are so dedicated and don't tie their hands. Tell them to be peaceful. Tell them obey the law. Tell them to be disciplined and all of that. But at the same time, tell them, while you are obeying the law, and trying to help teach the people of Mississippi who are black how to register so that they too can obey the law. Anyone who steps up then and begins to try and keep you from this registration, they're breaking the law. They are lawbreakers. They're criminals. Why, then you have, what kind of language are you going to use? Love? You got the wrong language. They don't love themselves. They don't love each other. There's no love between them. So I'm not criticizing you or condemning you, but I am questioning your tactics. I'm questioning your tactics. Now, you know what? I think people who tell our people to be nonviolent are almost agents of the Ku Klux Klan. I don't think 1965 will see a very nonviolent year. Your year was 64. Sir?
Could we have some order, please?
Yeah, he's all right.
We have some order,
I
please.
don't blame him. He's excited. I would be excited that... Now, look here, bro. Hey, look. If you're going to be nonviolent in Mississippi, you should be nonviolent here. I'll tell you why. It would be more tactical to be nonviolent with me than it would be to be nonviolent with the Klan.
And all thinking people today who have been oppressed are revolutionary. Anytime you find somebody today who's afraid of the word revolution, get him on out of your way. He's living in the wrong era. He's behind you now. He hasn't awakened yet. This is the era of revolution. Now, I must just take time to clarify what I mean before some of these pencil scratchers misquote me, which they're going to do anyway. You know, 2 years ago, the American press was calling your and my struggle a revolution. Negro revolution. Negro revolution. Now, they didn't mind calling it that, and they didn't mind you referring to it as that, because they knew what was happening was no revolution. But if you start using the word revolution in its real sense, then they get shaky. They start classifying you as a fanatic or something subversive or seditious or other than a law-abiding person. But today, if you don't understand it, we're living in an era of revolution, which means an era of change, when people who are being oppressed want to change. And they don't want a gradual change. They don't want the change to come day by year, or week by week, or month by month. They want to change right now. Students all over the world are the ones who bring about a change. Old people don't bring about a change. I mean, I'm not saying this against anybody that's old, because if you're ready for some action, you're not old. I don't care how old you are. But if you're not ready for some action, I don't care how young you are, you're old. As long as you want some action, you're young. But anytime you begin to sit on the fence and your toes start shaking because you're afraid too much action is going down, then you're too old. You need to get on out of the way. Some of us get too old while we're still in our teens.
The Klan is a cowardly outfit. They have perfected the art of making Negroes be afraid. And as long as the Negro's afraid, the Klan is safe. But the Klan itself is coward. They never come, one of them never come after one of you. They all come together. Sure, and they're scared of you. And you sit there when they put the rope around your neck saying, forgive them, Lord. They know not what they do. As long as they've been doing it, they're experts at it. They know what they're doing. No, since the federal government has shown that it isn't going to do anything about it, but talk, then it is a duty. It's your and my duty as men, as human beings. It's our duty to our people to organize ourselves and let the government know that if they don't stop that Klan, we'll stop it ourselves. And then you'll see the government start doing something about it. But don't ever think that they're going to do it just on some kind of morality basis. No. believe in violence. That's why I want to stop it. And you can't stop it with love. Not love of those things down there. No. So we only mean vigorous action in self-defense. And that vigorous action we feel we're justified in initiating by any means necessary. Now the press, behind something like that, they call us racists and people of violence in reverse. This is how they psycho you. They make you think that if you try to stop the Klan from lynching you, you're practicing violence in reverse. Pick up on that. I hear a lot of you all parrot what the man says. You say, well, I don't want to be a Ku Klux Klan in reverse. Well, you should. If a criminal comes to rob your house, brother, with his gun, just because he got a gun and he's robbing your house and he's a robber, it doesn't make you a robber because you grab your gun and run him out. No. See, the man is using some tricky logic on you. And he has absolutely got a Ku Klux Klan outfit that goes through the country frightening black people. Now, I say that it's time for black people to put together the type of action, the unit that is necessary to pull the sheet off of them so they won't be frightening black people any longer. That's all. And when we say this, the press calls us racists in reverse. Don't struggle only within the ground rules that the people you're struggling against has laid down. Why, this is insane. But it shows you how they can do. They make with skillful manipulating of the press, they're able to make the victim look like the criminal, and the criminal look like the victim.
Right now in this country, if you and I, 22 million African Americans, that's what we are. Africans who are in America. You nothing but Africans. Nothing but Africans. In fact, you can get farther calling yourself an African than calling yourself Negro. African don't catch no hell. You the only one catch hell. They don't have to pass civil rights bills for Africans. African can go anywhere he wants. Right now, all you got to do is tie your head up. Go anywhere you want. Just stop being a Negro. Change your name to Hooga the Glooga. Let's show you how silly the white man is. You dealing with a silly man. A friend of mine who's very dark put a turban on his head and went into a restaurant in Atlanta before they called themselves desegregated. And he went in a white restaurant. They sat down, they served him. And he said, what would happen if a Negro come in here? Hey, he's sitting up there black as night. But because he had his head wrapped up, the waitress looked back at him and says, well, wouldn't no nigger dare come in here. You're dealing with a man whose bias and prejudice is making him lose his mind, his intelligence, every day. He's frightened. He looks around and sees what's taking place on this earth. And he sees that the pendulum of time is swinging in your direction. The dark people are waking up. They're losing their fear of the white man. No place right now where he's fighting is he winning. Everywhere he's fighting someone your and my complexion. And they're beating him. He can't win anymore. He has won his last battle. He failed to win the Korean War. He couldn't win it. He had to sign a truce That's a loss. Anytime Uncle Sam with all his machinery for warfare is held to a draw by some race eaters, why, he lost the battle. He had to sign a truce. America's not supposed to sign a truce. She's supposed to be bad. But she's not bad anymore. She's bad as long as she can use her hydrogen bomb. But she can't use hers for fear Russia might use her. Russia can't use hers for fear that Sam might use her. So both of them are weaponless. They can't use the weapon because each other's weapon nullify the weapon itself. So the only where action can take place is on the ground. And the white man can't win another war fighting on the ground. His days are over. Yes. The black man knows it. The brown man knows it. The red man knows it. And the yellow man knows it. So they engage him in guerrilla warfare. That's not his style. You got to have heart to be a guerrilla warrior. And he hasn't got any heart. I'm telling you, yes. I just want to give you a little briefing on guerrilla warfare because before you know it, it takes heart to be a guerrilla warrior because you're on your own. In conventional warfare, you have tanks and a whole lot of other people with you to back you up and planes over your head and all that kind of stuff. But a guerrilla is on his own. All you have is a rifle, some sneakers, and a bowl of rice. And that's all you need. And a lot of heart. The Japanese on some of those islands in the Pacific, when the American soldiers landed, one Japanese sometime would hold the whole army of them off. He'd just wait until the sun went down. And when the sun went down, they were all equal. He would take his little bit blade and slip from bush to bush and from American to American. The white soldiers couldn't cope with that. Whenever you see a white soldier that fought in the Pacific, to the French up in French Indochina. People who just a few years previously were rice farmers got together and ran a heavily mechanized French army out of Indochina. You don't need it. This modern warfare today won't work. This is the day of the guerrilla. They did the same thing in Algeria. Algerians, who were nothing but Bedouins, took a rifle and sneaked off to the hills. And de Gaulle and all of his highfalutin war machinery couldn't defeat those guerrillas. Nowhere on this earth does a white man win in a guerrilla warfare. It's not his speed. Just as guerrilla warfare is prevalent in Asia and in parts of Africa and in parts of Latin America, you got to be mighty naive, or you got to play the black man cheap if you don't think someday he's going to wake up and find that it's got to be the ballot or the book. And now you're facing a situation where the young Negroes coming up, they don't want to hear that turn the other cheek stuff. No! In Jacksonville, those were teenagers. They were throwing Molotov cocktails. Negroes have never done that before. But it shows you there's a new deal coming in. There's a new thinking coming in. There's new strategy coming in. It'll be Molotov cocktails this month, hand grenades next month, and something else next month. It'll be ballots or it'll be bullets. It'll be liberty or it will be death. The only difference between this kind of death, it'll be reciprocal. You know what is meant by reciprocal? That's one of Brother Lomax's words. I stole it. I don't usually deal with those big words because I don't usually deal with big people. I deal with small people. I find you can get a whole lot of small people and whip hell out of a whole lot of big people. They haven't got anything to lose, and they got everything to gain. And they'll let you know in a minute it takes two to tango. When I go, you go. Article number 2 of the constitutional amendments provides you and me the right to own a rifle or a shotgun. It's constitutionally legal to own a shotgun or a rifle. This doesn't mean you're going to get a rifle and form battalions and go out looking for white folks, although you'd be within your right. I mean, you'd be justified, but that would be illegal. And you don't do anything illegal. If the white man doesn't want the black man buying rifles and shotguns, then let the government do its job. That's all. And don't let the white man come to you and ask you, what do you think about what Malcolm said? Why, you old Uncle Tom? Clubs and go out looking for people, but it is time in 1964, if you're a man, to let that man know if he's not going to do his job in running the government and providing you and me with the protection that our taxes are supposed to be for. Since he spent how many billion for defense? Since he spent all that money for his defense budget, he certainly can't grudge you and me spending $12 or $15 for a single shot or double action. I hope you understand. Don't go out shooting people. But anytime, brothers and sisters, and especially the men in this audience, you and I in 1963, some of you all wearing Congressional Medals of Honor, got shoulders this wide, chest this big, muscles that big, sit around and read where they bomb a church and murder in cold blood, not some grown-ups, but 4 little girls, while they're praying to the same God the white man taught them to pray to. And you and I see the government go down there and can't find who did it. Why, they found Eichmann while he was hiding down in Argentina somewhere. Two or three soldiers, American soldiers, who are minding somebody else's business way over in South Vietnam, can get killed, and he'll send battleships sticking his nose in their business. He wants to send troops down to Cuba and make them have what he calls some free elections. And this old cracker don't have free elections in this country. No, if you don't never see me another time in your life, if I die in the morning, I'll die saying one thing: the ballot or the book. The ballot or the book.
The next thing you'll see here in America, and please don't blame it on me when you see it, you will see the same things that have taken place among other people on this earth whose condition was parallel to that of the 22 million Afro-Americans in this country. The people of China grew tired of their oppressors, and the people rose up against their oppressors. They didn't rise up non-violently. It was easy to talk about the odds were against them, but 11 of them started out. And today those 11 control 800 million. They would have been told back then that the odds were against them. As the oppressor always points out to the oppressed, the odds are against you. When Castro was up in the mountains of Cuba, they told him the odds were against him. Today he's sitting in Havana, and all the power that this country has can't remove him. They told the Algerians the same thing. What do you have to fight with? Today they have to bow down to Ben Bella. He came out of the jail that they put him in, and today they have to negotiate with him, because he knew that the one thing he had on his side was truth and time. The time is on the side of the oppressed today. It's against the oppressor. And truth is on the side of the oppressed today. It's against the oppressor. You don't need anything else. You'll see it. You'll see terrorism that will terrify you. And if you don't think you'll see it, you are trying to blind yourself to the historic development of everything that's taking place on this earth today. You'll see other things. Why will you see them? Because as soon as people realize that it's impossible for a chicken to produce a duck egg, even though they both belong to the same family of fowl, so-called fowl, a chicken just doesn't have it within its system to produce a duck egg. It can't do it. It can only produce according to what that particular system was constructed to produce. The system of this country cannot produce freedom for an Afro-American. It is impossible for this system, this economic system, this political system, this social system, this system, period. It is impossible for it, as it stands, to produce freedom right now for the black man in this country. It's impossible. And if ever a chicken did produce a duck egg, I'm quite sure you'd say that it was certainly a revolutionary I'm the man that you think you are. And if it doesn't take legislation to make you a man and your rights recognized, don't even talk that legislative talk to me. No. If we're both human beings, we'll both do the same thing. And if you want to know what I'll do, figure out what you would do. I'll do the same thing, only more of it.